Hello, hello, Eden Zero is back. And it starts out with both Rebecca and her dad running to see her awakened mother. And for some reason, she didn't change out of her towel to do it. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because Connor, in the last chapter, when he heard the announcement, was dressed as Happy, in a Happy suit. And now he's not. So that means he changed. There was enough time for him to change, but not for her. Now, I understand he was in the dressing room, which has a machine that automatically changes your clothes. But still, the machine still takes a little bit of time to do that. So Rebecca could have put some clothes on. But instead, she decided to just run straight there, straight to the medical bay. And as she's running, she's actually thinking about the fact this is the woman who abandoned her father, basically turned her into an orphan, and she wanted to know how she should respond to her mother. And then she remembers that her mother is a member of Ratio Says Galactica, and then starts to get scared. But then she sees Connor and actually feels the courage to see her mother. They both ready themselves, and then together they walk into the medical room. And inside, St. Firefox is somehow overpowered sister and kicking her ass. So yeah, she definitely remembers being kidnapped by Ziggy. And so when she woke up, she figured she was now under his custody and that sister worked for him. And so that's why she's doing what she's doing. She's questioning where is she, what's happening, things like that. Connor is able to get her attention, and obviously this works. She stops freaking out, and that's when she notices Rebecca, and then puts two to two together and realizes, oh, that's our daughter. So, as you can imagine, she basically is happy to see that Rebecca is all grown, and Rebecca just doesn't feel like listening to that. She actually just wants answers about why she was abandoned, and so does Connor. And at first, Rachel doesn't seem to want to tell them, but they basically insist that they have a right to know. So she gives in and starts to tell them. Apparently, she's from the Yukino cosmos, the one that's named after Winter, and, well, the only one that we haven't seen yet. So it sounds like we're finally going to the fourth cosmos. That should be fun. Apparently, she was born into the St. Fire Church this entire time, and apparently it's been around for who knows how long. And her family, in particular, were basically the heads of the church, who were basically supposed to run the thing. In fact, she was trained at a young age to be the next leader after her mother. And the reason for this is because her family, apparently, has always had Cat Leaper as their ability. It has been something that just gets passed down from generation to generation. Her mother had it, her grandmother had it. So Rebecca was just destined to have this ability. So while she was apparently, either in her late teens or early 20s, she ran away from home, ran away from the church, and apparently found and fell in love with Connor. It's sad because they were only together for 3 years where she had to basically abandon Connor. And the reason for that is because apparently there are radicals within the church who didn't like the fact that some outsider was apparently with their soon-to-be leader. And so they killed Connor. She, of course, reversed time. They killed him again. She reversed time. She kept doing this over and over again until she finally realized she just had to abandon him. So around the time Rebecca was 4, apparently the radicals within the church turned on her as well, because apparently they couldn't accept the fact that she had Connor's blood in her, and so they killed her. Of course, Rachel went back in time and repeated the same process she did with her husband until finally she realized she just had to abandon her daughter. So she didn't just abandon Rebecca. Apparently she gave a few followers that she trusted Rebecca and some money to basically go out and take care of her. But they apparently took their money and ran, just left Rebecca on Blue Garden. Soon after that, apparently the church got weaker and began to fall apart, so it's nowhere near as what it used to be, which makes a whole lot of sense because Witch then asked, how did you become a member of Ratio Says Galactica? And Rachel's response was, it was because of her mother, Rebecca's grandmother. So Nox isn't a name, it's actually a title of whoever is in charge of the church, and apparently her grandmother was so powerful that she became feared and was labeled a member of the Ratio Says Galactica. And when she died, and Rachel took over as the new Nox, she basically took over the title as being a threat to the galaxy. Rebecca then basically says she had a nice life, she had Happy, she had her friends, she grew up good, and she's actually glad that she met them. And she's about to walk away and basically just try to wash her hands of it, but she can't do that. She turns around, runs, and hugs both of her parents. So yeah, the chapter ends with the three of them embracing and crying and just being glad that they're finally together. I'm super glad that we were able to focus just on this for this chapter. Like, so many chapters, the focus is split between 2 or 3 or even 5 different things, but this focused solely on these 3 people, and I'm really glad it did. With that being said, I cannot imagine the fanatics within the church are going to be happy that their leader has been kidnapped. And now that the rest of the Aristocracy Galactica have been annihilated, and the government has also basically lost half of its main force, this is probably a chance for a revival of the Church of Saint Fire, which is going to be really funny because that would mean their main enemy that's going to come up will be a church whose leader is Rebecca's mother, who is going to be against the church. That's going to be complicated. And that's not even counting the fact that they still have to deal with the Edens 1. But we can worry about all that later. All I care about is the fact that we're going to see a whole new cosmos. We got one. It's always nice to see a new cosmos with all the way the environment and planets interact. I mean, let's be honest, the one involving fish is pretty damn fun. But I will also admit that a theory I had was completely turned wrong. This is the one where I thought that Rebecca saving herself when she was a child is Universe Zero. But based on the fact that this is a generational power, Universe Zero is probably created thousands upon thousands of years ago. It might actually involve something involving the Dark Age. I mean, let's be honest, we're getting involved with a church that apparently has fallen in hard times. Plus, there's a history of the Dark Age when there were great heroes of the time. So it would make sense that the next story arc would involve that period of time. Yeah, so I think one of the last arcs, right for this final saga, for this final part, will involve going back in time to the Dark Age. I mean, this is a story about time travel, so why the hell not, right? Let's see what made the Dark Age so bad. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, give a thumbs up. If you enjoy more Eden Zero and other anime things. Thank you, and have a great day.